Welcome to Poets from the Neighborhood. I am VeerajaR.
And I'm Jeff Hardin. We hope you'll enjoy the poems we'll be reading today, poems written by your friends and neighbors. I'll be reading a few poems that I've recently published. This is called Concerning Birds Along a Power Line, to Jan LaPearl. You wouldn't believe the birds here, wild spinnings after so many months of cold. I can scarcely think for all the noise they make. But maybe that's a blessing, since I'm never sure what thoughts have brought me anyway. Strange companions, broken things, really. I try to give a few to you, in hope our worlds might overlap or be more clearly understood. I learned from Dickinson that thoughts remain unfinished. From where or why they come, no one can say. Just up the hill, an ash tree leans away from where the others reach. I've studied it a decade now. I, too, lean away from where the day is heading, from the one most likely I'll become, from every understanding I have found and entertained. And not because I am dissatisfied, and not because the thoughts I know are weary, small, or lacking purpose. I guess because they feel like guesses in the end. I guess because they're trapped by what they can't imagine, trapped by what's in front of them, trapped by words, the only form they take. What if we, in holding who we think we are, completely miss the self we might have come to be? What other questions might have framed our joys and fears? I'm not asking for an answer, nor am I asking to be mended by a moment's trace of what our being here will mean. I guess I'm asking if the noise we make will fill the sky. Is thought the closest we can get to being other than the self that has the thought? Is I ever you?
Today I'll be reading some special poems honoring the memory of our dear friend Nancy Fletcher Blum, a local poet and author who just passed on heavenwards this June 22nd. The first poem awaits a healing grace from my book Joy of Being. A purpose and place for everyone and everything awaits along life's terrace to arrive and embrace. Another day with solace for every wound and every mind awaits a healing grace. For every soul a prize everlasting, at last to rest beyond life's race.
A gathering near. I close my eyes against the noise in public places, wanting not rest, but for a small flame not to go out, and not just the one inside me, metaphor for the soul, you understand, but all those flame souls too, inside everyone. I'm speaking here of what some call consciousness, being aware of others, their concerns, hopes, needs, joys, maybe, most of all, their sufferings, how they ache to know something other and truthful, even if they don't know what to call it. Or do I mean conscience, something more than the sum of what we're taught and cannot see beyond, that innate reckoning that says to cause no harm, do nothing that benefits the self at another's expense, that voice that tells even starving children holding bowls of rice to gather near, to place with their own fingers food into the mouths of the ones who have no bowls. I have to ask why, at times, we feel compelled to kneel. Not bend or reach down, but actually kneel. And why imagine, as if to admit that what we know or see is not enough, does not satisfy completely. Leaves blowing past may only be the outcome of the season's change. But why confer meaning if meaning isn't needed to exist, to find a shape to what is, as a way to think through what isn't, to what lies beyond, what no one ever knows.
The next poem, Silence by Louise Colln. If I can find a silence in my soul, a soft retreat beyond the angry press of twinkling cymbals, I remold me whole. I'll build a bulwark from this listlessness and learn again to care if one weak child in Africa must beg for bread and die. Again that brave anachronistic wild last fight in China Square will make me cry. But I am filled with bright and noisy shards of sound and sight. They dull my empathy. No screams but mine crush through that shroud which guards my soul and kills the self I want to be. I'll waste my days a doll unless I find a silent place to clarify my mind.
One moment touching all the others. If only each line of a poem could be its true beginning. If only each moment could know every other moment, and we could hold them all at once, the way we wish to, the way we keep imagining we can. I don't care what anyone says about the impossibility, for I step into the same moment again and again. I've lived such a blessed life, a dying friend told me as I leaned in close and caressed her face. I am writing this line, this poem's true beginning, 6 years later, touching her radiant face again. Every moment is the time I followed a yellow leaf downstream when I was 9. To be or not to be, Hamlet asked. And 2 centuries later, Issa's poems were born. And yet, the cancer still arrives to steal her breath, the same breath blessing all her time. Just now, a purple bird flew up and startled me, and I said, yes, yes, and raised my hands. To live lightly in the body is to live deeply in the spirit. I say her words out loud some days, holding them all at once, and follow a yellow leaf through overhanging limbs, and enter my grandfather's quiet steps along a ridge a century ago when he was young. He is being and not being, in and out of shadows, arriving wherever the next step takes him, here and here. When rain begins, he just keeps walking, drenched and smiling, emerging decades later, holy. Sometimes an echo hints from half a life ago. A driveway puddle trembles at the foster home I lived in when I was 3. Good Lord, son, how did you know how to get here? The father asked when I showed up, adult, from 2 towns over. In the beginning was the word, John wrote, for each word starts anew, each word startling the sky, the cells, the breath. Each word, each line is an echo, an arrival, a blessed breath, being and not being. I don't care about the possibility of anything. The dawn keeps breaking, for which I am awake. The prologue is the epilogue. The epilogue, a leaf holding everything at once. I keep arriving where I am, born and blessed again. I lean in close to radiance. I've always known how to get here.
The next poem, On Passing, by Lydia, Esmer. Will the corn be high when I last spy from my final bed? And the scent of cider wear bittersweet when to that of burning leaves is wed? Might the shrills and shrieks of children at play pierce the silence for recess, their favorite time of day? Or will my spirit, dew-kissed, rise above earth's mist, before Sir Sun my waning eyes resist? When, oh, where isn't my care? Only to know, Lord, you are there, and to your promise true, that season shall follow season, winter to summer through. Thank you for watching Poets from the Neighborhood. We hope you'll join us again soon.